Hello, I'm Dr. Pandit, and I'm here today with my assistant, Dr. Vashist. Today, I'm here to tell you that your son Colin has Wilson's disease. In this video, I would like to inform you how to manage it, the treatments for it, the symptoms, and also the life expectancy. Disease is an inherited disorder that causes excessive amounts of copper to build up in the body, especially in the liver, eye, and brain. Other names it can be called are copper storage disease, hepatocellular degeneration syndrome, or in short, WD.
For Wilson disease appear between ages of 6 and 45 years, most often during teenage years. Liver disease is the first feature and affects children and young adults who have it. Older people do not experience much liver problems but still do have mild ones.
That's true. Also, in young adults, psychiatric problems or nervous system problems because of the brain, occur, and it's usually during the young adult phase. In many individuals with Wilson disease, copper deposits in the front surface of the eye form a greenish to brownish ring, called a Kaiser-Fischer ring. This surrounds the colored part of the eye. Abnormalities in eye movement, such as the restricted ability to gaze upwards, may also occur.
Symptoms of these problems can include difficulty walking, clumsiness, tremors, speech problems, impaired thinking ability, depression, anxiety, and mood swings. This disease is very treatable. We recommend medications called chelating agents, which prompt your organs to release copper into your bloodstream. The copper is then filtered by your kidneys and released into your urine. Treatment then focuses on preventing copper from building up again. When liver damage is severe, a liver transplant can be necessary. Other common medications used to treat Wilson disease include penicillamine, trientine, zinc acetate, which all treat too much copper in the body.
Treatment is aimed at removing all excess accumulated copper and preventing its reaccumulation. Treatment for Wilson disease is a lifelong process. Patients may become progressively sicker day by day, so immediate treatment is very critical. In order to live the most normal life possible, it is very critical to give this medicine to your son every day. Treatment delays may cause terrible accidents and irreversible damage. For people with severe liver damage, a liver transplant may be necessary. During a liver transplant, a surgeon removes your deceased liver and replaces it with a healthy liver from a donor. Most transplanted livers come from donors who have died, but in some cases, a liver can come from a living donor, such as a family member. In that case, the surgeon removes your deceased liver and replaces it with a portion of the donor's liver. It is started early, you can expect a normal life expectancy. With treatment, symptoms should be able to be controlled, and your specialist can advise you on this. If you have no treatment, Wilson disease is usually fatal by the age of 40.
Hi, I'm your genetic counselor, Mahum. So as your doctors have told you prior to this meeting, the condition your son has is called the Wilson disease. It's an autosomal recessive disease. This is a Punnett square which shows you projected genotypes for future offspring. The capital A represents dominance and the little a represents recessiveness, or the gene for the disease. All the four combinations in the four boxes are the possible genotypes for offspring. Your son would be the least common genotype, little a, little a. This means your son inherited the disease because you both have the gene for it. You just don't express it. As you can see, you both have one normal gene, the light blue square, which is dominant, meaning it essentially overrides the defect gene, the purple square, and thus you don't have the disease. Each of you then gave a defect gene, the purple square, to your son. Your daughter, however, does have this disease. This means she got one dominant gene, the normal gene, and there's a possibility that she got the defect gene as well, which would make her a carrier. There is also the possibility that she received another normal gene and thus isn't a carrier or affected. With further testing, we can identify if she is a carrier or not. Wilson's disease is a rare disease that occurs in 1 in every 30,000 people. If your parents or siblings have been diagnosed with the condition, you may be more at risk for this disease. It is not specifically found in a more particular race, so you are not more at risk for being Caucasian. The square and circle half shaded in on the top row represent you. The square represents the father and the circle represents the mother. They are half shaded in because you are carriers. The one square and the circle in the middle represent your current children. The square, your son, is filled in completely because he has the disease. Your daughter is not shaded in because as of right now we know she doesn't have the disease. And we also don't know if she's a carrier. As you can see in this pedigree, if you were to have more children, each of your other offspring has a 25% chance of being affected, a 50% chance of being an asymptomatic carrier, a carrier without any symptoms, and a 25% chance of being unaffected and not a carrier. Your children that are tested to be unaffected by this disease still have a 2/3 chance of being a carrier. In the future, if you were to have one boy and one more girl, we generated some possible results. Your son and daughter both have a 50% chance of being a carrier with no symptoms. If your children are carriers with symptoms, they may have mild abnormalities of copper metabolism, but this should not be life-threatening in any way.
I'm the molecular scientist. I'm here to tell you about the molecular basis of the disease. I'm going to talk about the gene that is causing the problems in the individual. I would like to go over the following information: what chromosome is affected, what the normal gene is supposed to do in the disease, and what type of mutation causes Wilson's disease. In Wilson's disease, the body stores too much copper. It is important for people to have a small amount of copper in the body because many foods have copper in them, but high amounts of copper can damage organs. Buildup of copper in the organs like the brain, eyes, and liver could possibly result in death. Wilson's disease is caused by a gene on chromosome 13 called ATP7B. Normally, this gene affects the way liver cells get rid of copper in the body and makes a protein called ATPase2. Normally, ATPase2 helps transport copper to other places in the body. Liver cells are supposed to pass excess copper into the bile. The bile then breaks down all of this excess copper. If this gene does not work, then copper is continuously building up in the liver cells. Eventually, these cells cannot hold copper any longer, and excess copper will spill out into the bloodstream and deposits into multiple other places of the body like the brain. Over 300 different kinds of mutations in the ATP7B gene can lead to Wilson's disease. There are many possibilities of something going wrong in the gene and leading to this disease. The most common type of mutation which leads to Wilson's disease, HIS 1069 GLU, represented 38% of all of the different mutation types. In a specific sampling, 3% of all the different mutations were accounted for by an error in exon 12. This error in exon 12 occurred when the DNA was splicing. These are just 2 of 300 different types of mutations leading to the disease. Think of all of the possibilities.
We've neared the end of our session. We'd just like to say I hope you found some help in our counseling.
I hope we helped you get through this tough time.
I hope we gave you adequate sources to base decisions off of.
Thanks for watching. Bye!
Bye!